So as a creative, I am constantly wired to create. I'm always doing something with my hands just to keep busy. Since 2011, I've been constantly creating, writing, filming, designing, producing, and so much more. I've dabbled with music production, all the way to graphic design, all the way to short filmmaking. You know, the skill set that I've gained is in all kinds of different areas. You can almost say I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. But with this skill set, I'm often asking myself, what is my purpose? And then as a Christian, I take that question a step further. So what is my purpose for God's kingdom? Where do I as a creative fit in? So the scripture that we're going to be looking at today is going to refer to some sort of ancient creatives who were used very specifically and very strategically for God. So let's take a look. Exodus chapter 35, verse 31 through 33 says, "And he has filled him, Bezalel, son of Uri, and son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, with the Spirit of God, with skill, with intelligence, with knowledge, and with all craftsmanship, to devise artistic designs, to work in gold and silver and bronze, in cutting stones for setting, in carving wood, for work in every skilled craft." Then jumping to verse 35, it says, "He has filled them, Bezalel and Aholiab, with the skill to do every sort of work done by an engraver, or by a designer, or by an embroiderer, in blue and purple and scarlet yarns, fine twined linen, or by a weaver, by any sort of workman or skilled designer." Okay, so in the scripture, Moses is addressing two skilled workers. We have Bezalel and we have Aholiab. And they were essentially put in charge of designing this tabernacle. If you have ever read through Exodus, this portion is so interesting because there's a documentation of all the measurements, the size and the lengths and all that kind of stuff that the Lord gave for these designers to build this tabernacle. He wanted a place of worship for the Jews to come to, and the Lord had very specific intentions with that. So the Lord did not call just anybody. He didn't call just any engraver. He did not call any specific carpenter. He called two people who had a vast skill set. They have a rich experience, having dabbled with several different things: embroidery, engraving, and weaving, and goldsmithing, silversmithing, all kinds of smithing. They have their skill set very, very widely spread, and he wanted people like that to give them those very specific instructions that Exodus lays out. This scripture kind of points out how specific the Lord is with his instructions. For us, he may give us just a few words, but we're looking at a time where the Lord needs something very particular, and there are going to be moments in our lives where he needs us to do something very, very particular. And him being very detail oriented as God the Creator himself, he gave them every single measurement, every single specification, all kinds of materials to use, the cubits that they have to measure everything by. And in addition to their physical, their natural skill, craftsmanship, the Lord filled them with the Spirit to carry out what he had required. And what he specifically needed them to do was not necessarily build it up themselves, but he filled them with the Spirit to have the ability and the opportunity to teach a handful of workers, a handful of designers to build that tabernacle. So he needed people who had this vast skill set to be able to explain and communicate and effectively relate to several different creatives, several different artists, and those who have their own specific skill set. So these are some of the things that I've learned and have gleaned from the scripture. So for one, the Lord instills in us gifts and talents and skills to do his work, such that will bring glory to him. Number two, we are craftsmen. We are designated to build a tabernacle. And a tabernacle is a fixed or movable habitation, typically light in construction. It is a meeting place for worship. So, and then number three, God is calling those who are willing to do his work. Anybody can wield a paintbrush. Anybody can throw some paint on a canvas, but it is he who is called according to the Lord's will, who is of a willing heart, receptive to the Lord's command, that will paint a masterpiece with details acceptable to the Lord, not to man, but to Abba Father, bringing glory and honor, praise and worship back to him. And the fourth thing is the Lord gives specific instructions for his creative people. Attention to detail is required. Okay, so how have I applied this to my life? How am I going to apply this to my life? The one thing that I think about is saying yes. There are many opportunities where the Lord is going to and has give me a command, give me instruction, go talk to that person, go do this, go do that. And regardless of my understanding of what that is going to mean, it is required for me to say yes. But oftentimes I find myself, shying away from what he's calling me to do. And so those opportunities are missed, having no idea what actually may come of it. So this is something that now, as we're coming into the new year pretty soon, I'm going to focus on saying yes, so that my skill set, my creativity, my craftsmanship will be used specifically for what he has instructed me to do, so that I know that is being put to good work, being put to good use, and is bringing glory back to his kingdom. That is my ultimate goal with my creativity. And so I'm seeking after him, seeking after the Lord, so that everything that I do is for him and not for myself. One thing I thought about is I may never know when I may be a part of building a tabernacle, a very specific, impactful, detail-oriented project that requires many of God's people. Now, this is the last video in this series for this year. I'm going to pick back up towards the beginning of next year, and then like the first week or two of January. In the meantime, I have another video coming up going over my entire year 2023. So stay tuned for that for the end of the year. And additionally, I do want to point out something. If you're not familiar, by the time of this having been posted, last Saturday, in Clarksville, there was a huge tornado, a huge storm that happened, devastated like half the city. Several houses are destroyed, several buildings destroyed. A lot of people are without homes. Now my family, we live in Oak Grove, Kentucky, which is just 3 minutes away. So this side of Clarksville and Oak Grove was fine relatively. So it's more so like that southern side of Clarksville that's been affected. And so I'm bringing this up and asking that you would focus your prayers, pray over Clarksville, pray that the Lord would provide for their needs, that he would supplement for those people who are without homes, and also pray that the nonprofit organizations that are working to help those afflicted have what they need to carry out that mission. It's a travesty, but it's a beautiful thing to see when the community comes together. And I'm working on ways to figure out how I can help the community with my jewelry business and things of that nature. But for now, just be in prayer. And additionally, if you want to donate, I'm going to try to work on having some organizations that are specifically helping in this area. They'll be listed right here. Have the links for them in the description below. So I thank you for your support for Clarksville, Tennessee. And meantime, I catch you in the next video. Stay blessed. Deuces.